There are signs that the video rental boom in Britain is leveling out, while the sales of cassettes are rising all the time, which suggests that movies are becoming as collectible as books and records. In America, the chic way to watch your favorite pictures at home is on Laserdisc. Laserdiscs are the same size as old-fashioned LPs, but work like compact discs, promising you high-quality sound and vision for eternity, plus instant access to all your favorite moments. Out in Santa Monica, California, a group of people are helping to change the very way in which we watch movies. The Voyager company, whose film catalog is known as the Criterion Collection, now encompasses some 150 titles. Criterion's products differ from its competitors by including not only an immaculate copy of the film in the original screen format, but a mass of extra materials such as outtakes, storyboards, and interviews with directors. These are recorded on a parallel track and can be summoned up at will. Moving Pictures went to Santa Monica and met the happy zealots, all of them candidates for movie buff canonization.
The Criterion people came to me, I believe it was in 1984, early in 1984, and said they were going to do a series of film releases on Laserdisc, high quality, and what they had made an arrangement with RKO, and what films, what titles should they consider. So I looked at the titles and I said, oh, Citizen Kane and King Kong, absolutely.
Rosebud.
King Kong, for a certain genre of film, it certainly is a classic. Everybody knows what it is. It's a cultural icon. Our idea behind it was to get the 100 or 200 films that were recognizably the best films of all time, or that people would recognize as cultural icons, that they wanted to watch over and over again, that were eminently rewatchable, that you would want to know more things about.
So he took that richness that he was so wonderful in radio, he took the lighting and the incredible staging he was able to do in the theater, mix it together, and you know, you have it all in Citizen Kane, and you throw film on top of it, and you get quite a breakthrough.
Producing a video disc for the release of Citizen Kane, and we've gone out and interviewed approximately 35 directors, producers, cinematographers, including 6 people that were involved in the making of Kane, on their recollections of Kane and Orson Welles. The interviews will appear as a little box, so you'll select the person you want to listen to, and that means 90 minutes of motion footage.
Citizen Kane also, when Orson Welles did it, he was so young, he was and so inexperienced though. So he did it from his heart, from his passion, and that passion, it's what the movie is.
Movies would be like now. I mean, it was a tremendously influential picture. I mean, the look and style of even most RKO pictures seems to have sort of changed somewhat after the advent of Citizen Kane. It's real difficult to surmise what movies would be like today.
We've got a situation now where most directors would like to be in the Criterion Collection, so they really pressure their studios, and also the studios to a certain extent recognize that it's a prestige thing to be in the Criterion Collection. The relationships with the directors range from the long-distance one with Kubrick, where we have faxes and couriers and all kinds of long-distance communication, where we don't actually work face-to-face, to recording on second soundtracks for a specific movie, where we sit them down and they go through describing what happened on the set. For instance, the movie Tootsie, which we're working on now.
You know, one of them liberators.
I'm editing Sidney Pollack's commentary to the Laserdisc Tootsie, which Voyager Company is releasing. So we went out and recorded Sidney Pollack as he was watching the film, and I'm now cutting his commentary to the second soundtrack, so the Laserdisc viewer can tune into that track if they want to. They have that option of listening to Sidney Pollack talk about the film that he made on a shot-by-shot basis.
It's always hard to do these moments of shock, let's say, particularly on take 10, where, you know, and I don't practice like professional actors do. I mean, I was an actor 100 years ago, but I don't practice enough to feel comfortable about doing a scene like this where I have to do this big shock routine. I didn't know he was going to pinch me, of course, which helped. That's a hard moment for me.
Wait, hold on. You can't come. Gregory, this was. George. It's Michael Dorsey, okay? Your favorite client. How are you?
I worked on producing the title Ghostbusters, and actually the producers of that were personal friends, so they really were very inclined to us doing this. We walked in and they opened up their entire office and said, cart it away, you know, you can have anything you want to.
So we got down on our hands and knees and started opening drawers, and they were full of everything from original conceptual photographs, you know, sketches, chalk drawings, beautiful stuff. Piles of VHS tapes. We had no idea what was on them. One tape was a work print that was used for scoring. That it was in color, but it was work print, so it was all scraped up and stuff. But the interesting thing about it is it didn't have the final score, it didn't have the final sound effects, and it didn't have the final special effects. We decided that the best way to really present was to put the work print on the top of a video screen, and on the same frame put the finished one on the bottom, and sync them up so you can see what it looks like before and after on the same frame without having to remember and look again.
I close the track. Get ready. I'm closing it. Now!
We included the entire screenplay on that release as video frames, and also a couple hundred storyboards. And if you still step these, like, you know, still stepping on video disc is much like turning a page in a book or flipping a book if you still step fast enough. And a lot of these storyboards, it looked like, were made to animate. And if you do it fast enough, you can really see the animation. And also it's interesting to see what the director and the actors and the cinematographer had to work from when they were making the film.
We did the two Michael Powell films, Black Narcissus and The Life and Death of Colonel Blimp. And they were two of my favorite films for years, and they were also, I knew, two of Marty Scorsese's favorite films. And when we talked about them and they said, should we do these? I said, oh, absolutely. And get Marty Scorsese to talk about them. He is absolutely enamored of these movies and knows them backwards and forwards. And then it turned out that Michael was in this country, and we were able to get the two of them in a room and sat down and watched the films, and Marty would talk about them, and then Michael would talk about them.
This is the first time we see Sister Ruth, who's ringing the bell at this point, and as you'll be able to tell by the end of the film, this follows directly to the climactic sequence, the same images.
I thought it would make either it was an important story to make properly, or it was one of those corridor epics, you know, half made in India and half made in Denham, and neither half quite right. I thought to make it a perfect whole, it would have to be a studio picture, or it would have to make it all on location. And at that time we could have done either, but I was much more interested to try and tell an exotic, wild, beautiful tale like this, to try and tell it all using all the studio techniques.
I think as a way of studying film, it's probably the finest and certainly the one with the most potential for film historians, film students, because of its unique ability in terms of freeze frame aspects, rapid frame, the ability to deliver a quality image and quality sound.
In terms of how much we pay attention to our audience that writes to us about their film selections, Children of Paradise, for example, is one of the most requested titles, and the demand that we perceived being out there based on the response from our audience was part of why this particular film made it into the schedule. The Laserdisc audience in this country particularly is a hardcore videophile, cinephile audience. They're nuts about this material. Some of these people are watching the entire film in slow motion, or they're still step framing through long sequences. You can watch a disc forward, backward at any speed and jump in at any point, and it really does place the viewer into a whole different relationship. I mean, it's like from going from a couch potato kind of posture to the point where you're basically at a computer keyboard and you're making decisions and you're controlling all aspects of the timing of the viewing experience.
Now for the bad news. Criterion discs are only licensed for sale in the USA.